Here are 3 shocking reports on veteran suicide. The VA released an extensive report this past September which provided data on veteran suicide by states, age, gender, as well as the most common method of suicide. The data was extremely disturbing. When faced with these statistics, VA Secretary Dr. David J. Shulkin commented, "These findings are deeply concerning, which is why I made suicide prevention my top clinical priority. I am committed to reducing veteran suicides through support and education. We know that of the 20 suicides a day that we reported last year, 14 are not under VA care. This is a national public health issue that requires a concerted, national approach." In August 2017, the VA published a separate report entitled Facts About Suicide Among Women Veterans. The data here is disturbing as well. From 2001 through 2014, the suicide rate among women veterans increased to a greater degree, 62.4%, than the suicide rate among male veterans, 29.7%. From 2001 through 2014, the suicide rate among women veterans increased to a greater degree, 62.4%, than the suicide rate among male veterans, 29.7%. The rate of suicide is higher among women who report having experienced military sexual trauma, MST, that is, sexual assault or sexual harassment during military service, compared to those who have not experienced MST. And finally, an older report cannot be ignored. In August 2016, the Office of Suicide Prevention of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, VA, published a report entitled, Suicide Among Veterans and Other Americans, 2001 to 2014. This investigation was one the most intensive ever completed and certainly the most comprehensive one on veterans' suicides. Here are some of the shocking statistics. More than 55 million records from 1979 to 2014 from all 50 states, Puerto Rico, and Washington, D.C. were examined. In 2014, veterans accounted for 18% of all deaths by suicide among U.S. adults and constituted 8.5% of the U.S. adult population, ages 18 and older. In 2010, veterans accounted for 20.1% of all deaths by suicide and represented 9.6% of the U.S. adult population. The burden of suicide resulting from firearm injuries remains high. In 2014, about 67% of all veteran deaths by suicide were the result of firearm injuries. In 2014, about 65% of all veterans who died by suicide were ages 50 and older. After adjusting for differences in age and sex, risk for suicide was 22% higher among veterans compared with U.S. civilian adults. 2014, after adjusting for differences in age, risk for suicide was 19% higher among male veterans compared with U.S. civilian adult men. 2014, in 2014, rates of suicide were highest among younger veterans, ages 18 to 29, and lowest among older veterans, ages 60 and older.